From the creators of Relevant Magazine, this is the Relevant Podcast.
Friday, January 17th, the year is 2020. You're listening to the Relevant Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Huckabee, here in Nashville, Tennessee. Meanwhile, my eternal foe, trying to make sure we go off the rails each and every time, is our illustrious producer, Chandler Strang.
Hello.
And meanwhile, up there in Loveland, Virginia, bringing a sense of law and order and sophistication to the proceedings, it is our friend Jesse Carey.
Hello, tip of the hat to you all. A very classy Friday to you, listeners.
And this is going to be fun today. I'm excited to welcome to the podcast someone we've been trying to get on here for a little while. You know him through his books. You may know him through his music. You may have seen him speak. I'm pleased to welcome Carlos Whitaker to the podcast. Hey, Carlos.
Guys, I'm so glad to be hanging out with you guys virtually across the screen. This is fun.
It's going to be a blast.
So, Carlos, we started to get into this before we were recording, and then we decided this is prime podcast content. This is what people come to the podcast for. I'm looking at from what we can see you. We're on a Skype call right now,
yes,
and you look to be in some sort of. My first thought was doctor's office. I hope you're not waiting for like test results or something while you're recording a podcast.
You know what I had? He just had a teeth cleaning. That looks like the dental hygienist is about to walk in.
I definitely. We've got over my left shoulder. We've got some sort of like American Pilgrim painting happening there in like a wood frame. I'm actually in a corporate office. I don't even know what kind of office this is. I'm speaking at a corporate event in Tupelo, Mississippi, which is why I'm wearing a button-up shirt right now. I feel very overdressed for the podcast. But this is corporate Carlos that you're seeing right now. He only pops up like once a month, and you guys get him.
Well, I feel like we finally went too far after we finally pushed it too far, and the Relevant Suits sent someone down here to monitor us for one podcast. Here's our performance evaluation.
I feel like there's an attorney on the line right now making sure we don't say anything libelous. And Carlos, you and I were talking before we got rolling. I was saying I would be very intimidated to do a corporate event. You're a seasoned pro, but I think I would just get up there and go like this: business, finances, bearer bonds. Anyone knows what these words mean? No, seriously, I need some help up here. We're going to do a little Q&A where I ask you the questions. So, what's a bearer bond?
Listen, like corporate event, Carlos is still relatively new. Like, I'm still surprised every time like corporate people ask me to come do things. Now, I'll take it because they pay 100 times more than churches do. So like every time a corporate event comes, I'm like, I will do one of those for every 15 churches. But I get up there. I think they think, because I'm not teaching them anything that, I'm kind of like the really inexpensive Mexican Tony Robbins. Like that's like what I am. Like I'm hyping them up. Like I'm making them laugh. I'm making them cry. I'm making them feel things. So
I think I would get I would be sweating profusely, and I'd be like, all right, I just said I'm going to start naming more business terms as soon as I show you this magic trick. Bum, 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 bum. And then I'm like, oh man, I don't really know any good magic tricks. So
right. Well, oh my gosh.
I got a couple more questions for Carlos, but why don't you tell listeners who else is on the show?
Yeah. We'll get into this more, Carlos, but we do want to give you a little tease about what else is coming up on the podcast. Oh, this is going to be great. We're talking to Elizabeth Melendez Fisher Good. She's a wonderful anti-sex trafficking advocate. She wrote a new book called Groomed: Overcoming the Messages That Shaped Our Past and Limit Our Future. Really excited to hear about Jesse Jesse, you had that conversation with her, I think. Is that right?
Oh, incredible conversation. The people, because she also incorporates these really powerful spiritual principles into her work that I think no matter, what your interests or backgrounds are, you're going to get a lot out of this conversation.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Really, really, really cool. And that's not all. It's Friday. We're also talking to David Gungor of the Brilliance. We got a new music preview. The Brilliance has a new album out. It's a collection of songs called World Keeps Spinning. We'll play a few clips from that album and hear a little bit from David about all of that. Now, Carlos, well, we're kind of in the your button up notwithstanding. The doctor's office aside, we really are in the presence of I don't want to say a celebrity, but a man of notoriety.
Yes,
you're a speaker,
gentleman of note. Yeah.
A business expert, as we learned today, a financial wizard. You're kind of. I think I first learned about you via you were like a viral video star.
Yeah,
that was my introduction, and that was before I even knew who you were. I came across your work on social media, and I was jealous. Right. Everybody wants to be the guy, but you really did it.
Yeah, no, we nothing like letting people know how important you are by having a video go viral, and suddenly people are just having you on their shows. We were on Good Morning America. We were on all the shows just because my kid was singing Single Ladies in the back of the car. And I told my son that he was not a single lady, and he burst into tears. And then it was crazy. We were like the next week we were on Good Morning America. We were on Today Show. We were on the Ellen Show. We were on Jimmy Kimmel Show. We were like on all the shows. Then we ended up winning a People's Choice Award for viral video of the year. Like Queen Latifah handed me a crystal trophy for making my son cry. And so and so as fun as that was, I'm like, nobody's going to take me freaking seriously. Like that was when I was doing music and I was trying, and suddenly like I'm the dad that made his kid cry. And you know what, at the end of that, I mean, this was like 2011.
Yeah.
I just said, you know what, I'm going to embrace this. I'm going to be the fun dad. And I kind of jumped into that world, and it's been a blast. So, well,
you have a couple. You're an accomplished author. You have Moment Maker, Kill the Spider, and getting ready this summer, Enter Wild. But I want to talk about Enter Wild, which our listeners can pre-order. But before I do, I have one question regarding the experience that started in 2011 when you're meeting all these out of Ellen, Jimmy Kimmel, the Today, Good Morning America crew, all the people that you got to meet. Who were you most surprised at what they act like when the cameras were off, either good or bad? You can spill the tea here.
I mean, enough time. They all listen, so be careful. They're all faithful listeners.
They're all listening. Oh my gosh. Okay, so on the Today Show, first of all, like Matt Lauer loved us. Okay, so I don't know if it's too soon to say that. He's like in 2020. Hold on. But who was his co-host? Her name was Ann. Oh my gosh,
Ann Curry.
She got replaced. Yes, Ann Curry.
Yeah,
she was so mean to me.
What? Ann Curry was mean. She seems very nice.
No, listen, I just remember like being like gutted because like the interview is going great and like they're like, oh, this is so fun. And then the camera turned off and she's like, I can't believe that you were recording your kid while you were driving in the car. That was so She lectured me and I started crying. I'm like, oh my God, I've loved you forever. Like I had a crush on you in junior high.
Wow.
And now you hate me. Oh, it was awful.
I wasn't expecting that level of tea. I thought you might say something like, I don't know, Jimmy Kimmel is but no, you're out here ready. You're trying to get Ann Curry fired. You're going to get her canceled.
She's not on the show anymore.
She's a powerful woman.
No, I think she's already canceled.
Yeah. All right. So Carlos, we've talked to some people in the past who've had experiences with Ellen. We've had Rob Fee is a good buddy of ours. He used to be a writer for Ellen. What was your experience meeting Ellen? Is she like one of the coolest people in the world?
Just so nice. Just so nice. And literally to this day, probably one of my favorite human beings. And not really anything she even said to me in that moment. Just watching her since then, she is just, she just is as incredible as you would imagine she is.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Every time I watch Ellen, like when she was honored at like the Golden Globes the other night, like I was like,
gosh,
Ellen's fantastic. She's just great, Yeah, like Ellen gives me hope for the world. Like Ellen's out there. She's pretty great.
Yeah.
You've also, can you tell us a little bit about, can we get into a little bit of Interwild, Carlos?
Yeah, man.
Can you tell me about, like, I know it's not available yet, but what's like the book's origin story? Where was the, like, this is the thing?
Yeah. So, my last book was called Kill the Spider, and it's, it's kind of like, it's not like you have to read Kill the Spider in order to read Interwild, but the book Kill the Spider is helping people kill their spiders. And I define a spider as an agreement you've made with a lie. And then a cobweb is a medicating behavior that brings comfort to the lie. So most people clean the cobwebs, and I'm trying to help you kill the spider. So after people killed the spider, I kept getting emails from people saying, well, the spider keeps coming back to life. I keep finding myself, in these same behaviors. And I realized that, just behavior modification isn't going to be the thing that most people are going to find kind of lasting freedom from. And so for me, Enter Wild, the subtitle is Exchange a Mild and Mundane Faith for Life with an Uncontainable God. I've kind of left the land of sin management and stepped off into the land of kind of miracle signs and wonders. And so for anyone hearing this, like I was born and raised Southern Baptist, like conservative, and it's only been in like the last 3 years that I've begun to really experience the presence of God in a really wild way, and in a way that maybe the disciples, when he was talking to them during the Great Commission, all the things he said to them that they were going to experience, I just thought, well, is this stuff really true? Like, I mean, listen, I was 40 years old and I'd never spoken in tongues. I'd never done any of those things. And I was just very cautious about that world. And we stepped into a church in Nashville, Tennessee about 5 years ago that really changed everything for me when it came to the Holy Spirit, and so the book, what the book does, Enter Wild, it's split up into 3 sections: Enter Rest, Enter War, and Enter Wild. And I tell people it's kind of like me taking my Christian conservative friends who I have much love for, walking them through the wardrobe, letting them peek into Narnia, and have them go, well, this is crazy. And then say, we can either go back into the wardrobe if you want, which is totally fine, or you can step all the way into kind of miracle signs and wonder Narnia land with me. And I feel like I've been set up in a position just because of where I've worked at, and like a bunch of conservative churches where people trust me a little bit more than they do maybe some of the crazy charismatics. And so like I'm like the gateway drug charismatic guy. Like I'm like the guy that I can get all my friends that maybe aren't into this thing. They trust me enough to go, okay, well, I trust Carlos. Maybe Carlos can show me around this space in a way that's going to be comfortable, that's not going to be demeaning, he's not going to tell me this is the only way. And so, yeah, that's what the book is, man. Just helping people experience the wild side of God that maybe they've just been in a really mundane and mild season of their faith.
Yeah, that's such an interesting topic. And, I went to like Oral Roberts University, which is super.
Oh, right.
It's like it is a very charismatic place, and all of those things you described are not uncommon to transpire on campus at any given moment, right? So I kind of grew up in that world, but I also know people from backgrounds who are a bit more conservative theologically, and that approach that world with real trepidation, which I totally understand. How
Absolutely.
skeptical was your initial approach to the world of sort of these more like charismatic type of ministry activities?
Yeah, skeptical would be just a kind word, honestly, compared to what I felt towards this world. I had only had one experience before, and it's actually in the book where I went to some sort of healing service somewhere, and they patted me on the head and I didn't fall down, and they pushed me harder and I didn't fall down, and then they basically all but like DDT'd me.
You're supposed to be slain, dude.
It's a simple.
Very straightforward. Catchers, we got catchers and modesty blankets out here. What do you think is supposed to happen? Yeah.
And so like I just remember like going like, what in the world? This is crazy, right? And so that just turned me off. I was like in 7th grade, and I was against any of that kind of stuff. I'm like, you know what? Like my faith is fine. Like I love Jesus. He loves me. I'm gonna go to heaven when I die. And man, I think where I finally got to honestly was a space where I was dealing with the big story arc in the book is my anxiety and depression that I've been really vulnerable with online the last decade. People have known that I've struggled with this forever. And then about 2.5 years ago, it got so bad that I started thinking to myself, and John 10:10 is the verse I go into, where it says that, a thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I've come that they may have life and have it to the full, right? And so, and have it in abundance. And there's a lot of charismatic circles that'll take that and mean like it's going to rain, like you're going to be driving a Benz. Everything's going to be beautiful. And so I finally got to the space where I thought, well, I don't think I'm living life to the full. I don't think I'm living with this abundance that people talk about and that I see in scripture. So I ended up going to this old man named John. I almost said his last name. I can't give his last name, but he lives in Nashville, and he's what they call a inner healing prayer minister. Right. And I was like, oh, somebody told me to go to this guy. I'm like, what is going to happen in this guy's space? Like what inside me needs inner healing? What does that mean? And guys, like in the book, I take you on my journey in his study, about 3 weeks of work that I did with this guy where, I was living at about 60%, I'd say 60% abundance before I went in there. And the Holy Spirit, through John, through the work that we were done in there, through a lot of inner healing prayer, I actually can now say that I'm like completely healed of my anxiety, completely healed of my depression. Like I don't take medicine anymore. It's been 2.5 years. I'm not saying people need to stop taking medicine. I'm a big believer in medicine, big believer in therapy. I'm just saying that when I finally saw like full healing in me, I'm like, holy crap. Like there is more available to me than I thought was available to me. And really all I'm trying to help people get to is realize that, so many people that have been suffering for so long with whatever it may be, kind of make deals with God. Like we're like, God, if I can just get 60% better, then I'll just kind of live here at 60% until I get to heaven where I'm promised to get 100% better. Yeah. And I'm just saying, well, why not pray for the 100 here? Like why not, we may not get it here, but why not at least give it a shot? And when I gave it a shot, I found it. And so when I found it, and now I just want to, that's going to kind of be the next season for me, is letting people know that 100% is available on this side of heaven. If it happens, if it doesn't happen, that's totally fine too. We can get that healing in heaven. But, my daughter was just in the hospital for 21 days in November, and the doctors didn't know what was wrong with her for 21 days. And people on the internet and on Instagram were really uncomfortable with me doing things like I was declaring healing over my daughter. Yeah. And they're like, well, like, how do you know it's God's will? We get into that question. How do you know it's God's will that your daughter be healed? And I'm like, well, is it God's will that my daughter is sick? I just don't think it is. Right. So why don't we just go ahead and declare the promises of scripture over her? And we'll see what happens, And so I just think that I've been set up in a position where I've got a lot of people that I worked with when I was at North Point in Atlanta, and a lot of very conservative churches that are looking at me, watching this transition in my life over the last season, going, man, you're just a lot more charismatic than you used to be. Can you explain? It makes me a little uncomfortable, but I kind of like it. Like, what's going on? And so, that's really where the book is taking people.
Well,
what a great story.
I am officially intrigued. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely, it's cool because I feel like there's an appeal there for people who are already kind of consider themselves sort of charismatic, or maybe someone who's more like you at the beginning of the journey. That's like, I don't understand this world. Let's dip the toe. Well, it's Inner Wild and it comes out in June, right? But people can pre-order now.
Yeah. You can pre-order now. So get on there. It's I'm excited. There'll be tons of stuff going around it when we launch the book. But if they go to Amazon, you can pre-order it right now.
All right. Awesome.
Cool.
Well, you heard it, Inner Wild.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're doing the hot list.
You're the holy book I can lay my hands on. You're the holy book I can lay my hands on.
listening to Frida by Jamila Woods. At the beginning of the podcast, you heard Little Things by Ali X. All right, time for our weekly look back at the week in faith and culture. It's time for...
It's the hot list. The hot list. It's sizzling.
Number 5 this week.
Real quick, Tyler, before we jump into the hot list. Before we jump into the hot list, I've been working on some of my corporate speech during the music.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Cool. Carlos, let me help you. You're welcome. You're welcome to these. Okay, you just go up there.
I've got to do this talk in like an hour. So can I just steal this stuff?
Please do. You just go up to the mic and you go, equity. Buygold.com. Credit cards. Bullion coins found in a pirate chest at the bottom of the Caribbean. What do these things have in common? That's your assignment, folks. That is your assignment. Then you slowly walk back, cross your arms, and sit on the stool and stare judgingly out on the crowd. And you do that for the next 25 minutes. And then you just slowly walk away. I think people, wow. It's going to be quite
that was powerful.
So, that's a free one. That
is, I think all of these, who are these people that I'm talking to today? Obviously, I don't even know like the kind of people I'm talking to today. They're economic developers. So I don't know if maybe you can Google that for me and help me figure out who the people are.
Oh, that's a big one.
Everything you just said is going to fit perfect.
That's thanks, Jesse. I'm meditating on that for just a minute here, Jesse. You've given me a lot to think about. The hot list feels kind of silly. It feels kind of trivial after all that.
I know. I would be like, real talk, guys. You guys are economic developers. I've been presented with a few investment opportunities. You guys tell me which one you think I should go with. 1, essential oils. 2, an old collection of Pogs, which I feel like could make a comeback, or some comic books. These are all serious investment opportunities, and you eggheads, tell me which one I need to do here, because I got some monies that needs to be moved. If you know what I mean. And I like my assets. I like my assets very hard. I like them in product form. So you tell me.
Show of hands, nerds. Show of hands, Pogs out there. Let's go. We'll determine by applause.
There'll be a couple dudes with Pogs out there in their pocket.
Listen, I lost my shirt on a Beanie Baby venture, so don't leave me wrong here. Still paying that one down.
That's right.
Take the opportunity, man. You got all those.
Okay, coming number 5 this week, Lauren Daigle performed the national anthem at the College National Championship, where heroes are made. The College National Football Championship game was held in Louisiana, and they found the perfect artist to open the game. The first daughter of Louisiana, Lauren Daigle, was there on hand. Jesse, did you see this one live? Carlos, did you see this one happen live, or are you just hearing about it now?
I saw it live.
You brought you in real time.
In real time.
Well, the beauty of this, too, is Lauren Daigle is an LSU alumni. She actually went to LSU, and spoiler alert, in case you didn't see, LSU beat Clemson. Yeah.
So she walked out a champ.
Yeah. And listen, let's hear a clip first, and then I have one piece of commentary.
All right. Here's a clip of the national anthem, a song. This is a cover. Lauren Daigle didn't write this one. The cover of the national anthem by Lauren Daigle.
All right, as you can hear, she did an incredible job. We're big Lauren Daigle fans.
She can sing.
Right?
She can sing.
She can sing. We've got that.
Yeah. So for people that that don't follow college football, the national championship game was between LSU and Clemson. And just how everything shook out, it ended up being hosted in the Superdome in New Orleans, which is in Louisiana. Right. So it already gave LSU sort of an unfair home field advantage. But my question is, don't you feel like having a notable LSU alumni perform the national anthem before the game? Don't you feel like that's kind of like in another advantage? Like if you're a Clemson fan, are you like, what the heck? You know, why you could find any singer you wanted to do this. It's a national championship. Anyone would have said yes. And you had to pick an LSU fan? That's not, she was wearing LSU gear before and after the performance. That does not seem fair to me. Lauren, I think this is a college cheating scandal, and I'm sorry to have to call you out like this, but I just don't know if this whole thing is fair.
We need to strip LSU of their championship. I think that's it.
Start
we
over.
gotta strip and start over. Play the
Rules
game
are
over.
rules.
Yeah, that can't
Rules
be
are
fair.
rules.
That can't be fair.
Yeah.
All right,
Exactly. Rules are rules. Yeah.
Well, one thing I do want to say. One thing.
Oh yeah, sure.
When so like my son, he's 13 years old. He doesn't know who Lauren Daigle is. But he does. Yeah. She leads worship at my church, and so she's up there singing. She's like, "Hey, Dad, isn't that the girl that sings at our church?" It's like, that was hilarious. That was like who he was to her. I was like, "Oh yeah, that was her."
And then he goes, "Wait a minute, Dad, didn't she go to LSU? This isn't fair.
That's not fair.
This is rigged. This whole thing is rigged from the bottom."
Right.
Yeah. Oh man.
Number 4 this week. Ooh, this is a spicy one. So
this is a meaty one here.
Buckle up, fellas. All right, here we go. Number 4 this week. Liberty University's Falkirk Center has sort of a concerning mission statement. All right, this came out yesterday, and Jesse, you and I talked about this a little bit. Carlos, I'll be interested to get your thoughts as well. So, Liberty University has launched a think tank called the Falkirk Center. It's a partnership between Liberty President Jerry Falwell Jr. and Charlie Kirk, who's the young founder of the conservative nonprofit Turning Point USA. As the first announcement a few weeks ago, the details were a little sparse, but in an interview with Fox News, the duo said that the idea is, quote, to provide basic education to the public on American history because so many universities have become liberal indoctrination camps. The public schools have not taught U.S. history in so long. So now, on the organization's official website, they've released an extremely concerning mission statement that appears to call some Christian principles into question, comparing their mission to that of William Wallace, the Braveheart guy.
Oh, the Braveheart guy.
Yeah, that's what they're doing here. Yeah. The site says,
if you're gonna go bold, go bold.
Yeah, go for it.
Go William Wallace.
Go for the extremely unproblematic Mel Gibson character, Braveheart. Okay, so this is a quote from their website that caught me and Jesse's eye, and it did make the rounds yesterday a little bit. And this is what I'll read it in full. It says, bemoaning the rise of leftism is no longer enough, and turning the other cheek in our personal relationships with our neighbors as Jesus taught, while abdicating our responsibilities on the cultural battlefield is no longer sufficient. Okay.
Oh,
I'm going to read that again because I think the full quote it's kind of long and I think it's important. Bemoaning the rise of leftism is no longer enough, and turning the other cheek in our personal relationships with our neighbors as Jesus taught, while abdicating our responsibilities on the cultural battlefield is no longer sufficient. They go on to describe the Falkirk Center as a think tank dedicated to restoring and defending American ideals and Judeo-Christian values in all aspects of life. Okay. So, Jesse, you wrote at length about this on relevantmagazine.com yesterday.
I did.
You had some. I found that quote and I passed it along to you. And like 20 minutes later, you came out with a barn burner.
Wow, attaboy, Jesse.
So all right. So let's for us I feel like there's a ton we could unpack in a lot of directions where this discussion can go. But I feel like it's not all that surprising that at Liberty and someone like Jerry Falwell, who is very vocal about his political opinions, would start a think tank that, advocates for conservative causes, like that isn't all that surprising. Like, people might have a lot of opinions about that. But I think what really was, one of the more concerning developments was that single quote that you read, Tyler, that a lot of people were sharing that quote that ends with the phrase is no longer sufficient and references some of Christ's teachings was what was concerning to people. Now, people started sharing that quote on Twitter, Tyler, including from your personal account. I saw that you tweeted something, and the Falkirk Center itself started replying to people, essentially saying that everyone was misreading the quote. Now, they were saying that they aren't saying that we should no longer turn the other cheek in our personal relationships like Jesus taught. They said we shouldn't do that, while also, it's very awkwardly worded, and I kind of feel it's more on the writers of this statement instead of all of the people who happen to be misreading it, but they said we should still continue to turn our other cheek in our personal relationships, but we should not engage with cultural issues, which is fine, but it leads a lot to the reader's interpretation. For instance, like, why even conflate the two? Why even say, hey, by the way, I guess we should still worry about this turn the other cheek thing, except when it comes to the cultural battlefield, we should be like William Wallace out there. And it's like, well, what is the limits of turning the other cheek here? Because, I mean, that's basically what they're saying. It's like, so if I have a personal interaction, I should turn the other cheek, and I should act in a certain way that, if you read into it, probably is the way of the spiritual fruits: goodness, kindness, self-control, but what they're saying is, when it comes to cultural issues, it's different. And I feel like that's where this whole thing gets very dangerous, because that's where we've seen political rhetoric that you see on Twitter every day, starting at the highest office in the country. It doesn't mirror any of those values: goodness, kindness, self-control. And that, to me, is what is so concerning here, is they're saying we can kind of have our cake and eat it too. I can say, hey, be nice to your neighbor, but when it comes to cultural issues, let's take the gloves off.
The gloves are off.
That's kind of how I read it. And that's why I feel like it was kind of concerning. Carlos, hearing this statement, hearing kind of their mission, what are your thoughts, particularly as it pertains to this kind of problematic mission statement?
Well, I again, like, I just wish that universities, whether it be a Christian liberal university or a Christian conservative university, I feel like it may be time to just kind of cut the Christian part out. Just say we're a conservative university, because I feel like that's a great mission statement. Once you take out, if you're like all about conservative think tanks, but you have to take off the Jesus part. You like take that part off, and suddenly you've got yourself a great conservative William Wallace. Let's go. Let's get a think tank. Let's not groan at the left agenda. But the second you put anything about turning a cheek or anything about Jesus at all, like, it just messes everything up. And I think that's the biggest problem that that university is having right now with things like this and statements like this. You've got to. It's the cake and eat it too. It's like, listen, if you want to be a conservative think tank and you want to, fill minds and grow those ideals, go for it. Like 100% be that. Mm-hmm. But you can't be that and try to like cram Jesus in and a statement Jesus has made just for the sake of, well, now I'm going to appease the Christian side of who we're supposed to be. Does that make sense?
I think that's a really great way to put it.
It's a dangerous conflation. Yeah,
it's a dangerous conflation. It's one I think we were all kind of raised with and have seen a lot. And it happens. I don't mean to excuse. I don't want to turn this into like just bashing the Republican Party. Obviously, Democrats have tried to recruit. Everybody wants Jesus on their side. Whether it's politics, social issues, the sports teams, everybody's trying to make sure that. Well, they'll find their Bible verse and say, if God is for us, who can be against us? But it gets really dangerous in avenues like this. And it raises a lot of questions about Charlie Kirk and Jerry Falwell's own conduct online, which has often been very
non-cheek turning.
What's a polite way to say it? Yeah, non-cheek turning.
Yeah,
are you going to tell me that
Falwell
when they
will call someone losers? Yeah,
he called them. He called Dr. Moore. He referred to him as like just a businessman or a bureaucrat a while back. Was that cultural engagement then, or was this one of those things where turning the other cheek doesn't count anymore? Or when he had that joke about threatening to shoot AOC if she stole his cows? In the extremely unlikely situation that ever became an issue, that doesn't seem like turning the other cheek. So I just feel like, Carlos, you're saying they want to have their cake and eat it too. Feels like a really good summation of what's going on here.
Yeah,
choose one or the other.
Choose one or the other. Don't try to just smash these things together, because it's not going to work. And every time you do, there's going to be these conversations are going to be happening. So if they would have just cut that off at the end of the day, like, do it. Like, I bet they're going to do an amazing job at at filling minds and think tanking or whatever it is that they're going to be doing with those thoughts. Just don't try to like shove in Jesus in order to appease maybe the Christian side of whatever label you have to kind of label yourself because you're a Christian university. So
Yep. I agree.
And this isn't the first. And this isn't the first instance of intellectual dishonesty when it comes to their promotion of the Falkirk Center, which,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you wrote about that a while back.
Yeah, initially, I mean, Falwell has a way of presenting, and I think this is the other concerning thing about this as like a think tank is there doesn't seem to be like genuine, and again, maybe this will change because it's a new thing, but genuine good faith efforts to engage with different ideas. It's sort of these, fear mongering, liberal indoctrination camps. It's like, what does that even mean? Like, that's not fair. Like if you want to have talk about politics or, whether you lean right or left on social issues, that's fine. Let's have that conversation. Like that's what, let's get some intellectuals here and let's chop it up. Let's have the talks. But who's gonna want to go when, the insinuation is, well, if I lean a little left on things, I don't have Judeo-Christian values. Like, you're not on the Jesus side. It's like, I just don't know about the whole approach. And I think this is like a red flag for, what could be in store. But anyway, people can read more about it and see the reactions on Twitter.
Yeah. Number 3 this week. And even more, if you thought that was controversial, then we're not. We haven't even gotten started. Carlos,
I'm interested in your.
I do it. Yeah, Carlos, I do it.
I'm interested in your take on this.
Oh no!
Because I saw on Twitter you had some thoughts. I already saw on Twitter.
Okay. I don't even know. I don't know what your thoughts are about this one, Carlos. All right.
No one's allowed to read my Twitter. I need to delete my Twitter. It gets me in so much trouble.
Too late now. You're in it. You signed up. The business guys out there may be sending somebody in to cancel your speech. People
in Mississippi is canceling me as I speak right now.
All right. Number 3 this week, Joker led the way in Oscar nominations, while once again, females and people of color were overlooked. Okay, so few could have predicted that Todd Phillips, the guy behind the Hangover movies, would churn out a gritty DC Comics movie anchored by a terrific Joaquin Phoenix performance. And fewer still could have predicted that Joker would come out on top of the Oscar game with 11 noms, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Phoenix, Best Editing, and Best Cinematography. That's pretty wild considering what didn't get nominated this year. Oscar darling film studio A24 was largely shut out, except for a single cinematography nomination for The Lighthouse. Its Uncut Gems, which was expected to net the first ever nomination for Adam Sandler, was snubbed altogether. Also snubbed The Farewell, Lulu Wang's exquisite meditation on family and loss, starring Awkwafina. In fact, no women at all were nominated for Best Director, prompting announcer Issa Rae to pointedly jab congratulations to these men after she read their names. Little Women received a Best Picture nomination, but it must have come together all on its own because Greta Gerwig's name was nowhere to be seen. So none of this is likely to curb criticisms of the Oscars' lack of diversity, which seems to happen every year because the Academy just can't seem to fix its own mostly white, mostly male focus, routinely skipping over excellent movies and performances from people of color. There was one single person of color nominated for an acting award, Cynthia Erivo for Harriet. One bright spot, Parasite. Bong Joon-ho became the second Asian director in Oscar history to get a nomination for Best Director. Parasite was not only nominated for Best Movie, it was also the first South Korean movie to ever get nominated for Best Foreign Film. That's the sort of richly deserved recognition the Academy should be focusing on more in the future. Okay, Carlos, I did not see your Twitter takes on the Oscar nomination, and I don't know how much of a film head you are, but I'm curious to hear now.
My observation was you were live tweeting from the Golden Globes the other night, and so I'm like, all right, if Carlos is live tweeting the Globes, okay, this isn't just a Globe watcher. This is someone who's weighing in live with takes.
You're an award show. You're an award show guy.
I'm an award show tweeter, guys. It's what I do.
All right.
Yeah.
So am I. Yeah, I do a lot of it.
Yeah,
Give me your thoughts on on this year's Oscar nominations then.
Well, I mean, again, first of all, Did nobody see J-Lo? Like how was she not nominated? How was she not nominated? It's mind blowing to me.
I was surprised.
And you know, I hear a lot, and here's the thing, like I always hear on, you know, online or on the news or whatever, that like the voting, the people that vote in the Academy, like they're a bunch of old white dudes. And like, I don't know actually if that's true, because I've never seen like a picture of these guys. So like, I can just say and build this on what I've heard. So if it's not true, somebody just tweet me a picture of maybe what they look like. But if it is true, then that's where, and again, I don't know how somebody becomes a voter or whatever, or in the Academy, whatever, but that's what we have to fix. Like the nominations are never going to get fixed, ever going to get fixed until until the insides get fixed, you know? And so I'm not surprised. I wasn't surprised in any way, shape, or form, because I think the machine's broken. So if the machine's broken, it's not gonna output what we need.
Mm-hmm. It's not just going to automatically fix itself with because people on Twitter are mad last year or the year before.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh, well, you could be mad, but like the machine's still using these parts from 1942, you know? So.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, I do want to talk about, two of the big things was, Joker getting so many nominations. And so I want you, did you get a chance to see Joker, Carlos?
I actually have not seen Joker. No.
Okay. Well, how about this? What is, in your opinion, what is the best movie you saw in 2019?
That's what I want to know.
That you feel like observes like award recognition.
These are the Carlos Awards. The first annual Carloses come out this year. They're coming out right. The announcements are right now here on the Relevant Podcast.
Yep. I'm just upset that Frozen 2 just did not was not. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just not kidding. Okay, so the last movie that kind of blew me away is Frozen 1 was no, honestly, and I just saw this, and I don't know if this actually was eligible for this year or if it'll be for next year, but I just saw 1917.
Okay. Oh yeah.
And was that up for this? Was that out of the loop, or is that
nominated
next
Best
year?
Picture? Nominated Best Picture this year.
It is nominated for Best
Picture. It got a lot of nominations.
Yeah.
I think it got 8 or 9 nominations.
It did. I mean, honestly, like at the end of the day, like I did not see a better movie last year than that movie. Like my mind is blown how they pulled that thing off. Like it was the most beautiful thing I've seen in years, and so that was kind of my vote for Best Picture.
Jesse, you reviewed 1917 over on the site.
I did. It's incredible. Like, and what I found really powerful about it is like, it is a movie about heroism and selflessness and courage, but it's also a movie about why war is terrible. And it's just a gruesome and horrible, horrible thing. And like, you're constantly reminded of that. There's a moment in the movie where, it really makes an effort to show what war can do to people and what that, the spirit of war does to people. There's a moment where an act of compassion, I don't want to give too much away, turns into like a really moment of tragic violence. And you just realize, war strips humanity. And I felt like that kind of underlying note throughout the movie was really powerful. I definitely think it should be one of the films that's considered for Best Picture. It's definitely one of the best I saw this year. Tyler, I feel like you went out to interview Greta Gerwig about Little Women, and after you went out to interview her and went to a screening of that, you said that was one of the best movies you saw this year, right?
Oh yeah. I don't know if I would put it at number 1, but it would be in my top 3, and it might be. No, I haven't seen 1917 yet, so I don't want to weigh in until I've seen all the options. But Little Women blew me away. It blew me away. I loved it, and I think that it couldn't have happened without Greta Gerwig. There's nobody else who could have made that movie sing the way she did. And she wrote it, she did the adaptation, and she directed it as well. And I really, really love that one. And I loved a lot. I mean, I'm not arguing that any of these movies is bad, other than maybe Joker. I really did not think was a very good movie. But I loved everything that was nominated. I'm not saying that, I'm not arguing that there's like a lot of undeserving things. I thought Parasite was really excellent. I've liked, it was a great year for movies. It was a great year for movies, and understandably, you can't award them all. some things are going to get left out. That's just the nature of it. But when it's so consistently the women and the people of color who are left out, after a while, you have to. This isn't a coincidence every single year, you know. Was
A Marriage Story nominated at all?
Yeah, Best Picture.
It was.
Best Picture.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I didn't see the nomination, so that was probably another. Probably the other movie that I saw this year that, like, I don't know if it was. I don't know which way it moved me, but it definitely moved me. like I was
it's tough to watch. It was a hard one to watch.
Oh my gosh.
It was grueling.
The acting in that was incredible. I was definitely like so uncomfortable the entire time I was watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, maybe that was the goal, and if that was the goal, then, you know, it was an incredible movie. So that was probably the other one that I saw out of the nominated movies.
That was and they were both nominated. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson were both nominated for Best Actor for their performances there. All right. Coming to number 2 this week, another upcoming movie news. The McMillions trailer promises a documentary about a heist unlike any other. Oh, Jesse and I are excited for this one. We had to tell everybody about it. All right. You might remember, or you might not, back in 2018, when a long-form Daily Beast feature about an amazingly bizarre scandal involving those McDonald's Monopoly game tickets went viral. Now, the less you know about that story, the better, but it's a true crime story. It's full of crazy twists and fascinating characters with a real and really weird crime at its core. And now HBO is making the real life story into a docuseries. Here's a clip of the trailer that they put out this week.
This story has got everything: revenge,
drugs, greed.
Ronald McDonald.
Somebody went to the FBI and said, guess what's happening?
The McDonald's Monopoly game was fixed. The Bureau thought it was just some BS story.
Fast food fraud was not making any list of priorities.
Are you kidding me? This is what makes my fun meter go.
All right, Carlos, you may not be familiar with this story. It's not like a super well-known grift, but it is one of the... I
am very familiar with Monopoly at McDonald's, so
exactly.
I'm sold.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah! If you
just
play,
the premise alone is fantastic.
If you played this game at any point, if you peeled out these tickets and thought maybe this is my ticket, maybe this is how I get my Boardwalk and Park place, then you were scammed by this one guy who pulled off, really for a few years, the heist of a lifetime.
No,
and it's like Ocean's 11 with a McDonald's filter on it.
What did he do? Like he cheated?
He ended up, so there is a long form story, and this is what drew me to it, because like the original online like magazine piece that ran about this was so well written and so many weird characters. But yeah, essentially a guy was able to steal the pieces from the factory and sell them on like a weird black market of people who wanted to win prizes from the McDonald's Monopoly game. It got so out of control, the FBI ended up getting involved. But I feel like one of the real appeals for this story isn't just because you're right, Carlos. Everyone's played the McDonald's Monopoly game and be like, where the heck is Boardwalk? I got like 10 park places I'm sitting on. I am one piece away from $1 million. There's a reason no one was getting those pieces, because one guy was hoarding them and selling them. But are you shocked and offended by this person's actions? This is a crime.
I'm so angry, and the only reason why I'm calling my friend David Slade the second I get off the phone with you guys in 1998. And I don't know when this documentary is set, but my friend David Slade and I drove from Atlanta, Georgia. We were a little acoustic guitar duo straight out of college, and we decided to drive to California and back in my Honda Accord, and we said, we're going to eat McDonald's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and play Monopoly every single day on this entire... For 20 days, I ate McDonald's praying that I would get it. And you're telling me right now that the only reason that didn't happen is because of this shady... I didn't even stand a freaking chance. The one thing, we won a Game Boy. Oh, that was like the greatest Monopoly score of the thing. We ended up winning a Game Boy, but I beat the system. But I'm so upset that it was rigged.
And moreover, and I don't want to give away too much of this story, but this guy also was kind of a Robin Hood with some of these, because occasionally he would take the winnings and give them to like a nonprofit or a charity or something like that. There was also his buddies, and he would also sell them on the black market for. He wasn't entirely altruistic in his motives, but he would occasionally like an orphanage or something would get a random check out of nowhere.
And the other fascinating thing about this is the weird characters that American greed and criminal impulse brings together, right? I mean, because a lot of these people were, the FBI was so shocked because they're people who are otherwise wouldn't do this type of thing, except they were presented with a weird opportunity to try to do something criminal. There's another film on Netflix that's sort of in this same vein. It was based on, I think the original article ran in Esquire. And the Netflix film, it's the same thing. It's like a true crime documentary. It's called The Legend of Cocaine Island. And, there is some sort of salacious material in it, but it also it ends on an extremely redemptive note. And it is really about people who make bad decisions, dealing with the consequences of those decisions and understanding, what the power of second chances, but also how easy it is for an average person who's living a decent life to make a really bad decision when presented with the opportunity. So in Legend of Cocaine Island, there's this guy in Florida who runs these businesses that supports his family. The recession he hits him a hard time, and they're sort of like the neighborhood sort of kind of bohemian guy who comes to cookouts, and he tells, all these stories about his wild past. And he tells this guy this story about one time he's living on an island and a huge bag of cocaine washed on shore. Like it was being trafficked. It fell off a boat or something. It washed up on shore. And this guy's like, I didn't know what to do because the cops in that area were corrupt. I didn't want cops after me. I didn't want drug dealers after me. So I buried it. And so this businessman in Florida, when he falls on hard times, he's like, you know what? I'm going to fly to that island and find that buried stash and sell it and try to get my family out of this hole we're in. And it sets off this insane course of events. And you see how good people will do bad things when presented with the opportunity. But I like the McMillian story because it's a similar thing. It's a crazy story, but it's also like, these aren't hardened criminals doing this. Sure. These are decent people who made bad decisions, and those consequences. I think those are fascinating stories to tell.
This is McDonald's fault. This is McDonald's fault. It's 100%. It's not the family.
Clearly,
like they should have never put the pieces in front of us, guys.
It's too tempting. They're totally the boardwalk out there.
Those are bad people.
Have you guys seen that Price is Right documentary, The Perfect Bid?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not familiar with it at all. Never even heard of it.
I saw it on a flight once. Like it was on the Delta in-flight entertainment thing. But it's along the same lines. There's nothing actually criminal that happened, but it's about a guy who kept showing up at The Price is Right, and he would win the showcase every single time. And so the producers started like freaking out, like, what's he doing? Well, come to find out, he's like a math whiz, and he memorized all of the prices of every single game on Price is Right. He had this spreadsheet, and he basically beat the game. And so they wouldn't let him on anymore, but it's actually fascinating too. It talks about a guy that kind of beat the system. Pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I should check that out. Yeah. I love those type of things.
I love a good. I love a good grift.
You guys would love it.
Give me a good grift any day. That's the only drug I need.
I've been scammed so many times that I love these stories.
The only thing better than hatching a good grift is getting scammed by one.
You know what? He really got me. He really got me.
One more scam. Listen, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but somebody from Christianity Today reached out to me last week for an article. But I got invited to speak at an event in London that it took. I mean, they had me for about 3 or 4 emails. I was like, this is awesome. Like the Anglicans think Carlos would have something to say to them. This is amazing. And come to find out, it was a scam. And the guy was, I didn't get to the point where Jonathan Merritt actually, like, I think may have booked a flight to like go to London, but there's some guy that got a hold of a bunch of Christian speakers contact in the States. And all they wanted was money for our visa or for some sort of, travel expense. And then they're like, we'll pay for your hotel. We'll pay for everything. And so a lot of my friends got the same email, and it was my most, we got scammed, guys.
I saw it getting passed down a lot of people. To the point where I was kind of upset that I wasn't one of them. Like, how unimportant am I? How low on the totem pole am I? That it's
You're telling me I'm not even going to get invited to speak at fake conferences?
Even worthy of being scammed?
Guys, you should have seen the fake conference lineup. I mean, the green room would have been buzzing.
It would have been, yeah.
It would have been buzzing.
The Coachella of Christian speaker. It would have been a big deal. It would have been really cool. No Tyler Huckabee on the lineup. He probably just knew that I would fade. He knew I'd see through it right away.
Right away.
He knew better than to test old Sherlock Huckabee. Wasn't going to test his.
I don't have a good feeling about this. I'm going to send you the picture of my passport, my social security number, my mother's maiden name. But I just want you to know something seems fishy about this. But just in case not, let's get the process going here.
Man.
Yeah, go ahead. Steal my identity. It belongs to someone else. My identity's been stolen many times. I don't even know who legally possesses it right now. So fine, take it.
I smell a scam, or my name isn't Tyler Joseph Huckabee. Social security number 4.
Oh man.
Okay, last on the long hot list this week. We'll clip things out from here, but this is a great story. I liked it a lot. Number 1 this week: the reporter who made a huge Jeremy Lin headline blunder found grace and a new job as a priest. Okay, this is a story of redemption.
Yes.
It's a little bit long. Well, we'll go through it. So back in February of 2012, ESPN was looking at one story and one story only: the story of Jeremy Lin, the undrafted point guard who was the only Asian American in the NBA and for a brief moment became the star of the American sports world, landing on the cover of Sports Illustrated 2 weeks in a row as he led the New York Knicks to 7 straight wins. At that time, recent college grad Anthony Federico had landed in a relatively thankless but potentially upwardly mobile gig as a content editor for ESPN. As he told WBUR Boston, it was really cool. My job was to watch the night of sports unfold and kind of make editorial decisions in real time about what stories we're going to lead with, what angles we're going to promote. Near the peak of Lin's sanity, during a game with the New Orleans Hornets, Lin had an off night and the Knicks lost. Federico, scrambling for a late night headline about the loss, went with chink in the armor. Do you guys remember this story a little bit? It was a very, very big, obviously extremely problematic headline there. During the ensuing fallout, the headline was blasted for utilizing one of the most loathsome racial slurs in the English language. Federico apologized, calling it an awful editorial omission. He said it was a phrase he'd used many times before and simply failed to consider the way it would be interpreted in the context of Lin. He said, my name and address got leaked to the media, so the paparazzi started following me around. I got hate mail and death threats from all over the world, and a lot of late night talk show hosts were roasting me, and, my face was on a lot of newspapers. I was this big racist villain. It was brutal. Federico was fired from ESPN, and things got pretty bad for a few weeks until Lin himself reached out, and the two met for lunch in New York City. He said, quote, he told me that he didn't think the headline was racial in intent, and that was so huge to hear. I'm eternally grateful to him for his kindness. So we talked about the headline for a few minutes, and then we talked mostly about the world and our faith. That was the start of a journey that would result in Federico getting more serious about his own religious faith, attending mass with more regularity, and taking an interest in theology. He realized there was a lack of priests in his area, and one thing led to another. He applied to the Archdiocese of Hartford, Connecticut, and was ordained to the priesthood in June. Now, he says what he went through at ESPN has given him more grace for others. He said, I think a sense of sympathy for what people are going through and how everyone has a story that goes deeper than their worst moment or one thing they put out on the internet. And I have a sense of what it's like to be angry at God in this big way. And I can relate to them when they bring me their struggles and their hopes and their dreams and their fears. And I think that feeling of being abandoned by God was part of this whole process of preparing me for priesthood. So that was I think a really great, you never hear what happens to these guys after they get canceled on the internet. And that was kind of an early example of internet canceling. Yeah. It was like the dawn of internet cancellation. And obviously, both in terms of what was said, however unintentional, it does sound like it was unintentional, obviously was truly awful. Yeah. But the story and Jeremy Lin's response to it is so moving.
Gosh, I got a little choked up hearing that, Tyler. I'll be honest. That's beautiful. We don't that's like the opposite of the internet, right? I mean, it is the opposite of anything that we're getting these days. And I actually recorded a whole podcast. Maybe it was in October or September on the whole cancel culture thing, because it is just like anti-Christian. It really is like it is the opposite of everything we've been taught. And to hear something like that, it just gives me hope, because that's kind of what I'm looking for. I am, and I guess maybe because I've been canceled before, and if what happened to me in 2011 would have happened in 2020, then honestly, like, I would have no more career. But it's like I got off scot-free because my marriage fell apart because of stupid decisions back in 2011, before cancel culture became something. And so that's why I'm so passionate about stuff like that. And when I hear stories like that, because we're destroying our own. And I love what Jeremy Lin did. And I love that the dude's a freaking priest now. Like, that is awesome. Yeah. That is beautiful, man. That is beautiful.
Yeah. Which may not have happened. Yeah, it's quite a story. And I think that people get canceled, and of course there are consequences for bad decisions people say and do. And nobody's saying that shouldn't happen.
Absolutely.
Obviously, we believe in consequences, but we also believe in grace, and we believe that people need their jobs. People have to work, and they need health insurance. And I think that the reality is we don't know the whole story a lot of times with these. With what happens when people get canceled. So it's cool to see that the one person who really could offer this guy forgiveness and grace was Jeremy Lin, and he took the opportunity to do it. So and that speaks really highly of him as a person.
Yeah.
Especially back then, he was a busy guy back then.
Yeah. He was the biggest sports star in the world at the time. Yeah. Very cool. And I would like to invite this priest to speak at an event I'm hosting. I will only need a small cash deposit, preferably paid in Bitcoin. You're not going to believe the lineup, though. You're not going to believe it. I don't even know how Bitcoin works. Just crypto me some, and we'll figure it out. But we want you there.
That is awesome.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for this week's.
It's the highest. It's sizzling.
Coming up next, Elizabeth Melendez Fisher Good joins us. You're listening to Low by Junior.
Tyler,
the one time, I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
I will say this. They used to be called Dale Earnhardt Jr., and not Dale Earnhardt III, I guess, but Dale Earnhardt Jr., and there's a much better name than Jr. I still love their music, but man, they should have stayed Dale Earnhardt.
You're off the train.
I'm off the train. I'm off the track, as it were.
You lost a key
I'm
key
off
support.
The speedway.
Well, okay, so Jesse, I don't know if you're aware of this about me, but I do love cooking. I've got a bit of a chef, I suppose you'd say.
Okay.
Not in a professional sense, but in a home sense. I like to find time to cook, but I don't always have time to do it. I don't always have time to get to the store. The podcast just has there's too many needs for this podcast. I don't always have a spare hour to head down to the grocery store and get the things I want.
So you're not like one of those, guys on Chef's Table who's out there, touring local farms to find, the best cows that produce annual Parmesan for you need someone else to bring the fresh ingredients to you.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I wish I could do all that, but like probably most of our listeners, that is just not something I really have time for in my schedule, personally. So that's why I was really pumped to try out HelloFresh. They send everything I needed right to my door, so I didn't have to worry about finding that kind of time for the store or dealing with trying to find where in the store some of these ingredients are, trying to figure out measurements. Everything that comes in the box is already parsed out, ready to go, so I can just do the part I actually enjoy of cooking, which is actually the making of it, the cooking part, the baking part, and then enjoy the healthy, delicious meal, all with the ingredients that were sent right to my front door.
Hold on, let me get this straight, Tyler. They're delivering all the ingredients and instructions right to your front door, and you've made a couple delicious meals that you're going to tell us about. Yet, I'm looking at my phone here, and I don't have any dinner invitations to your house. So go ahead, make me hungry. Read what you made so far with these fresh ingredients.
These were so good, Jesse, that I couldn't bring myself to share them with you, or to be honest, with anybody. I did eat them all myself, and I would do it all again in a heartbeat. For example, I got to make a Gouda burger with homemade fries. I have tried to make homemade fries myself in the past. It has not gone well. Yeah. We don't need to get into that too much, but the instructions that HelloFresh sent and the ingredients they sent couldn't have been easier. A child could have followed it, and I'd put them up against any other French fry here in town. I also made some cheesy beef tostadas, probably my favorite thing that I had. That was extremely straightforward, simple recipe that came together in no time flat, and I loved it. There's also a great chicken pasta dish that I'd eat again, and that I'd eat again for sure. I wish I had them all right now. I'm remembering the experience of eating these as I'm talking about them, and I'm jealous. I'm jealous of myself then.
And even though you decided to be a shameless glutton and not share any with me, they would make the portions are for several people. Like this would make a whole meal for a family, right?
Yeah, you can choose the size of your family, how many you want, and then they do they'll accommodate that for you. And so it just saves time. You're not having to think about that, and it's sustainable too. I'm not wasting tons of it. When you make a recipe and it calls for like a vanilla bean or something like that, and you have to go spend $30 to get all of that. This way, you're not having to worry about that because they take care of all the measurements ahead of time. I'm not wasting tons of food and ingredients for one special dish. And Jesse, if you're interested, and if any of our listeners are listeners, and if any listeners are interested, you should be. I know I'm interested. Relevant Podcast listeners can get a special deal. You can get 10 free meals along with free shipping with a purchase. All you have to do is use Relevant10, the code Relevant10, to get these 10 free meals along with shipping with HelloFresh.
10 free meals?
That's right. That's the code Relevant, the number 10, 10, to get 10 free meals. I would encourage everyone to do it. I know I'm going to be doing it. And I think once you try it out, you will not be disappointed.
That's a really good deal.
It's actually a really good deal. I double checked to make sure this wasn't a typo, but it is true. And if you're feeling especially gracious, you can even invite Jesse over. He may decide to go meet you at his house, but you'd be a nicer person than I will.
Hit me up on Twitter, and after you Relevant 10 those deals, let me know and I'll be there.
HelloFresh is now $5.66 per serving. Go to HelloFresh.com/relevant10 and use the code relevant10 during HelloFresh's New Year's sale for 10 free meals. That includes free shipping. Again, that is HelloFresh.com/relevant10, relevant10, and use the code relevant10 during HelloFresh's New Year's sale for 10 free meals, including free shipping. We are excited to talk to our guest today. Elizabeth Melendez Fisher-Good is the author of the new book, Groomed: Overcoming the Messages That Shaped Our Past and Limit Our Future. She's the co-founder of the organization Selah Freedom, one of the nation's leading anti-sex trafficking groups. She also holds a master's in clinical psychology. She's a very accomplished woman. Jesse, you recently spoke with Elizabeth about the book and some of the spiritual principles she incorporates into her just vital work. Talking to these people is always such a gut check for me.
Yeah, for sure. Especially in this era where, sexual abuse is rightly in the headlines as it becomes something that more and more people are being made aware of in the Me Too and Church Too era. And I wanted to start off by talking about Selah Freedom, the organization, the anti-trafficking organization that she has founded. And it started because when she was talking to many young victims of sexual abuse, she found similar patterns. They oftentimes they end up on the street where they are preyed upon by, these predators in the sex trafficking industry right here in America. And to her, that was really shocking and, was sort of the impetus for founding Selah Freedom.
The ones that run onto the street within 48 hours, 80% of them are approached by a predator who just lures them in and has to say, "Are you hungry? You need a place to stay." And they think, "Oh, my hero." And he will then turn and sell them 15 to 40 times a day for sex. And we have this over 300,000 of our own American kids in every zip code. And they're kids from every socioeconomic. And that's why I think the stories of my book, Groomed, you'll get educated about what's happening in America to our own kids, but then you're also awakened to what's happening to just all of us, what's being stolen that we're not even realizing.
So part of the idea for the book Groomed is looking at some of the commonalities that, these survivors of abuse, some of the commonalities in their stories. And what she was able to do is look at their stories and also recognize patterns in our current culture that enable this type of abuse to happen. And the book actually identifies 5 ways that these predators are able to groom potential victims, but also ways that our culture grooms this type of activity so that these things can be identified and really dealt with on multiple levels. And here's how she explained that.
With the girls that have been trafficked, all of them have had different stories, right? But they match my most affluent donors, their stories. And it just seems that as women, and I've had men, lots of men read my book, when it's going through editing and writing endorsements, and they're like, it should be for everybody because it stirs up when we're little. And it's not intentional. Usually our parents are always doing the best they can. The people that are in our lives are doing the best they can, but everyone's coming from their own generational baggage. And it just seems these big 5, being groomed for appearances, to be invisible. So many people say, I just never felt like anyone noticed I was there. Groomed to endure, which is my biggest one for me. And then they're each so universal, but individual. And it just, I don't know, like I said, the message came together like screamingly loud where I'm like, oh my gosh. And right on the heels of the Me Too movement, that it's not just that, it's more. And it's about people awakening to the parts of them that they've allowed to be silenced. And so it's sort of a cool for the movement that's happening right now, a healthy way to look at it.
As the name of her organization suggests, Selah, there's a large emphasis on faith and the Christian community in Elizabeth's work. She's very vocal about her faith. And so it's no surprise that one of the things that the book looks at is institutional issues in the church that have led to abuse. And not only have led to abuse, but have really led to a pattern of silencing victims. And we're seeing that right now in a lot of these Church 2 stories. I think that was one of the major threads in the SBC revelations of these hundreds of accusations of sexual abuse. But it was not just abuse; it's cover-ups. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about how she wanted to approach these institutional issues that lead to so much abuse and how this can be prevented.
People spend so much time on the symptoms, and if you could just go to the root, the symptoms all fall off. Like for me, with my own issues, when I finally got the healing at the level and got down to the secrets and the deepest places, when I was able to acknowledge my grief, like there was so much that sometimes you're not allowed as a child to have the reactions and the grief and the need and the expression of so many things. And then they form us, and then it ripens you for the next situation, almost like groomed, ripe for the picking. The Me Too movement, the Church 2 movement, it's kids that we were raised with almost all of these, that we were silenced, or, the judgment chapter is very much about the church and very much about the messages that, we wanted to be the good church girl or boy. And so of course we wouldn't say what we were longing to say.
Obviously, a book like this is extremely timely. There's the Harvey Weinstein trial happening right now. That was one of the first big Me Too cases. The Church 2 movement is happening, and more leaders in the church are being exposed for preying on congregants and their abuse is being exposed. And, I felt like, obviously it's a very good time for a book like this to be released so that people can understand these issues more. But I also wanted to, get her perspective, because she's been doing this work for a long time, of why she thinks these movements are really having a moment right now, and that survivors of abuse are feeling so empowered. And she had some interesting thoughts about that. Here's what she said.
When I started in this space, I felt like God's had it. Like he's had it. Like he's so passionate for his children, and he's so about being a voice for the voiceless. And all of these things have stolen our voice. And what I do know is that when your voice is stolen when you're young, when your ability to be what you know in your heart and gut that you thought you're supposed to be, and when it gets crushed and silenced a bit, or told it doesn't matter that much, or just, hold off on that, or no, you're fine, suck it up. It deadens what our destiny is really, truly called to be. And I think all of a sudden, with all of the little pieces of, we're starting to talk about what happened to us, that it's like this tsunami. I always say, I feel like I'm championing a tsunami with this, because people are starving to have real conversations, and everybody's ready to be restored. I think we've lived in this silence. It's almost like it was, even though we thought we were so much better than our parents' generation, we still weren't truly naming it all the way. And I don't feel like it's the straight up, blame and, let's accuse this person today because of what happened to me 20, 30 years ago, but rather let's talk about what happened 20, 30 years ago, it's not about blame, but rather I'm done with only having part of me show up. Like, it's time for all of us to show up. And I think the empowerment that comes from that, and watching the most, like when we have a survivor that gets to go make her impact statement in court and face her abuser, what that does for women that are volunteers that are sitting in the courtroom that think, I've never spoken up for myself that way. So I think it's just this movement of not to bash or come down on, the other sex or men or any of that, but rather to reclaim what we've sort of allowed and didn't even realize was stolen. And it's a season of everybody is ready for more, and the doors are opening for more. And I think God is like, go, 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 because I need everybody fully equipped for their full identity, because there's so much we need to do at these times.
Yeah, so obviously it was awesome to talk to Elizabeth Melendez Fisher-Good. You can check out her book, Groomed: Overcoming the Messages That Shaped Our Past and Limit Our Future. And check out the great work that the Selah Freedom Foundation is doing. It was fantastic to talk to her.
Yeah, and thanks a lot to her for taking time to talk to us as well. She's
sure.
a busy woman, and the work is really urgent. And I really hope that you will make it worth her time. Check out the stuff that she's doing. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the Brilliance joins us.
The man assumes that what he's got, is called the truth. The man assumes that what he's got, is called the truth.
You're listening to Facebook by the Brilliance. It's kind of a flex there to name a song Facebook.
That's right.
You have to really want to listen to the song because the title won't try it.
Well, hey, do the intro and I'll give you some background on that.
Okay, all right, let's do it. Okay, so the Brilliance, they just released the second installment of suites of music that tackle big ideas around global issues and spiritual concepts. After first taking on the topic of immigration in the Dreamer Suite, the duo has released a second suite called World Keeps Spinning, that looks at anxiety and fear. Jesse, you recently spoke with David Gunger about the new songs and the big ideas that inspired them and the Suites project itself. And apparently you talked a little bit about the title Facebook as well, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the concepts behind these suites are really deep and profound. And as you're going to hear in this kind of new music preview coming up, David will really kind of explore sort of the psychology behind them. But part of it, for the World Keeps Spinning is looking at not just personal anxiety. He experienced real anxiety and a panic attack that led him to kind of re-examine anxiety on a personal level, but also cultural anxiety of what it's like to live in an era that on the surface things look pretty good, but there are all these existential threats, and we're constantly reminded of them on places like Facebook, where we're also trying to parse out truth and what that does to our sense of security. It's a really deep album, but one that is profoundly hopeful. And I was really excited to talk to David about it. And I'm excited that people are going to get to hear a few clips from songs and part of the inspirations for them. Here is David Gunger and the new music preview for World Keeps Spinning.
The first suite was the idea of these suites. John and I grew up together playing music. And when we first started our band, and it shouldn't a band. It just was an idea of doing a project around sacred music at first, which means like the idea around kind of spiritual music around kind of big themes. And eventually, just through life, I mean, we started that when I was like young 20s. I was married. John was in college down in Austin, Texas. And I think when we first started, John would probably identify as an atheist, and I was like a young youth pastor. But we started creating music together, and it morphed over the years and evolved. And by the time we were heading into our 30s, we kind of said, okay, well, what do we want to do? Should we stop doing this? We had this friendship that would kind of last still throughout, our lives. It doesn't matter if we're in a band or not. But we really thought we want to tell people stories. And so the kind of trajectory of it that we called it was, we said we want to make music that inspires empathy. So while we were writing this, you have the existential threat of things like climate change, as well as war, as well as, all different types of things in society where you have these existential threats. And then as well as we are, on one end, more privileged and more, as a society and as a group of people that's ever lived in human history, like, we are super blessed and super fortunate and live a really easy time. And yet, in that time of human history, so many of us deal with depression and anxiety and feeling loneliness within the idea of modern technology. So we really dive into themes of like social media and technology and what that does to us. So the second suite is actually by far our most ambitious, large piece of music. So the entire suite starts off with an overture, which means it's a big theme from an orchestra that it starts off, and it's a theme by Bach. And it starts that way, and the very end of the record actually ends with the same piece of music, just kind of reimagined. But the idea of it is you have this song that starts off with this overture that is human history. And then you'll hear John sings the first song, and he talks about there's this pain in my chest. I can't give it back. I can't give it back till I don't exist, till there's nothing left. That being alive itself, like being aware of it, is you're going to have this pain, this anxiety. And then there's a choir that sings back at him, no one ever said it was easy. And the choir is supposed to represent like humanity singing back at this individual. And the first song is called Release Me. And it's kind of this plea of, I am at the end of my rope. So you're starting off on this character having a panic attack. And then it goes through why. And for me, the next song is, and I won't do this song by song, but just big ideas, is it goes through existential things. So a song called How Do We Know, which really does this thing of like, what is truth? Especially within the mode of like, so on religion, you start off with this thing of like, what is the revelation of like, how do you know that this is real? But then also in our modern context, like we get things like fake news, and we get things like these things where we're like, well, how do we know that that's actually true? How do we know that that's real? For the first time ever in 2019, it kind of took me a long time where I didn't ever, part of this is just being I feel like stereotypical like dad and man role in your mind of whatever, society I grew up in, little tribe, of being like, okay, this is how you act as a father and how you do this. And I had a lot of anxiety and depression that I didn't want to face because I felt like as my role, I couldn't even really know how to address it. And then finally had some panic attacks, and one of them was coming off of an airplane where I'm picking up my baggage, and I'm just like starting to weep at the baggage claim. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm crying right now. And then realizing like I'm having a panic attack. And so my wife really encouraged me, like, hey, you need to go and see someone. And I did, and I got on medication for the first time for some anxiety stuff. And through that entire process, kind of writing this music, it brought things into a much clearer picture of like, okay, we need to address and talk about mental health. And so the second project is, like I said, it's kind of a wide array of things, but the theme of it is called The World Keeps Spinning, and it's around the idea of anxiety.
That was David Gunger with the Brilliance. You can check out that new World Keeps Spinning suite wherever you listen to music. All right, well, I think that is going to wrap it up for us this week. Carlos, man, this was really fun.
Thanks,
I hope this got you loose. I hope this got you a little bit loose for your big event.
It got me loose for the economic developers,
but
guys.
not too loose. Yeah, exactly. That's what they want.
Carlos, I want to give people a little behind the scenes. It's a long show today, but you and I were talking beforehand. You had listened to the Corey Asbury episode before
Yes.
we that we recorded earlier this week. And we need to have you back on in a couple weeks because you have a hot mic story. We're going to ask listeners to send their favorite hot mic story of a speaker or a church where something was said that was called on microphone. You have a great story. I'm going to tease it out so we can have you back on in a couple of weeks to hear this story. That's a tease. That's a tease for listeners. But it's an excuse to force you to come back. And if you come back, I also want to invite you to a conference I'm hosting, and the email is going out to some colleagues today about the sensitive paperwork I'll need faxed over my way. So just prep the birth certificate.
Make sure in the email you use the year of the Lord about 3 times. Like if you could say that, then it's going to be really convincing.
Looks very official.
Yes,
that's how you know it's real. It's the ring of truth. That's how they can tell it's a bona fide. It's a bona fide email. Yeah. If you've liked listening to Carlos today, then you'll want to read his book. You can pre-order Enter Wild now. Also, we want to thank Elizabeth Melendez Fisher Good for joining us, talking about her very important work. Groomed is available in stores. I hope you all pick it up. And hey, thanks to the Brilliance too. Check out World Keeps Spinning wherever you listen to music. It's another great album from them. And hey, if we can plug our own podcast. You already listened to this one. Why not listen to the Relevant Daily too?
Hey.
That's mine that I do every single weekday. Give you the top 3 stories at the intersection of faith and culture, Monday through Friday, along with Jesse. We bring those to you. We're pretty proud of it. It's a solid podcast. It's only 10 minutes to keep you up to date. Check it out. And with that, I think we'll wrap it up. I'm Tyler Huckabee.
Jay the String.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Carlos Whitaker.
And have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Relevant Podcast. If you like what you heard, be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. Check out other shows from the Relevant Podcast Network in the podcast section at relevantmagazine.com. And while you're there, browse exclusive podcast merchandise at our online store. Make sure to subscribe to Relevant Magazine. Info is available at relevantmagazine.com/subscribe.
business, finances, bearer bonds. Anyone knows what these words mean? No, seriously, I need some help up here. We're going to do a little Q&A where I ask you the questions.
Relevant Podcast Network.